Welcome to Beyond Names. I'm Dr. Habib. This is a space for spiritual seekers and soulful misfits, for the curious and the committed, for those grounded in a tradition, and for those who are not sure what they believe. Whether you call the divine God, Yahweh, Allah, Elohim, Hashem, Great Spirit, higher power, ultimate reality, or you're still searching for language that fits, you are welcome here. Together, we'll explore the intersection of spirituality and daily life, the wisdom of many traditions, and the ways we return to our true selves, to our source, to the light that each of us carry within. I'm so glad you're here. Let's begin with introduction of our conversation partner for this episode, Dr. Latifah Lynn Hobin. Latifah is a dentist, spiritual teacher, healer, author, and Sufi practitioner whose work bridges clinical care, trauma healing, and spiritual wholeness. With 25 years in dental medicine, a fellowship in geriatric medicine from Duke University, a master's in divinity, and training in modalities including somatic experiencing, medical intuition, and energy medicine, Latifah brings a deeply integrative lens to healing. She is the author of Alchemy of Awakening. She teaches spiritual healing with the University of Sufism, and she helps people listen for the voice of the heart as they move toward wellness, hope, and peace. If you'd like to contact Latifah, please email her at DRL, so Dr. L, DRL period Latifah, Latifah1 at gmail.com. Latifah, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it's so beautiful to be with you today, Habib. Thank you for inviting me.
Alhamdulillah. It's nice to be with you too. So, if you would please introduce yourself, let our listeners get a sense of who you are by sharing your spiritual story to the extent that you feel comfortable. Take as long as you like or as short as you like, as you wish.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. It is so lovely to be with everybody who's listening, and I thank you for your presence and your curiosity. I I'm not unlike anybody else. I grew up, I was raised in the Christian faith, and I was pretty enmeshed in it until my 20s. At that point in time, it I felt a disconnect and I couldn't reconcile it of going to church every Sunday. So at that moment in time, I pivoted to a place that I always really felt a presence greater than myself, which was out in nature. So I spent lots of time out there and just really could feel the peace and to be in awe of the beauty and all of those things. Um, and there was a plan for me from the very beginning, very early age, and I fulfilled that contract with my parents. Um, and the good news is I liked what the plan was. I really enjoyed being a dentist, and service had always been a big piece for me too. So being able to be service in that way um, opened things even further for me. And I just got on with my life and was doing my thing. And when I was in my fellowship at Duke, one morning I woke up numb from the chest down. No no lead up to it, nothing. It turns out, they told me after struggling with, well, is this really what it is? That I had MS. And even though I was in the medical field, and I was like, so what does this mean for me? I mean,
Mm,
34 years old. So what's going to happen here? And I had worked with people with MS, and they were all over the map.
Mhm.
And some who were young, former veterans, who couldn't even feed themselves. And other people, everything was fine. Some who started to lose their minds, their ability cognitively, and others were fine there. So they were, there wasn't anything at that point in time. There weren't the medications that are available now. Um, and I'll get to that part anyway. Um, and the thing is that I just got on with my life. And I didn't have the bouts of being totally taken out of commission and for periods of time. I worked and continued working, and things just started to get a little bit more challenging. And
Mhm.
around 2000, when I was 40, the medications were coming to much on board. Um, so I was given one of them, and the the drugs, they're hard. The original ones were. And I was just like, wow, this is a lot of fun. And hey, I want to do what I'm doing. It brings me great joy. I was married at the time, and I just kind of let's just kind of keep keep on keeping on. So I just kept doing that until it got to the point um in 2007, it was getting harder, a lot harder. And I changed drug regimens that were easier on me and that type of stuff over the course of time. So in 2007, I um, I was with my neurologist. He said, I don't know why you're getting worse. Your MRIs are the same, stable. And so I went for a second opinion. And they said, you failed all drug therapies. There's nothing on the market or coming to market that's going to help you.
Mhm.
Um, and well, we could try something. And it's that we can try something, that always makes me a little bit nervous. And what it was to use the one of the original breast cancer drugs, chemotherapies.
Mhm.
And so I came back from the second opinion in Chicago, and it's like, huh, this let's sit with this. And I was not on any spiritual path at this moment in time other than the natural spiritual path that we all have, whether it be consciously or unconsciously, because we're all looking for something. And and so I sat with it that night, and I got a no.
Mhm.
Um, and the way they were going to track it was with the MRIs, and they hadn't changed. So it's like, well, this doesn't make any sense. So I called my neurologist the following day. I said, Mitch, who is also a friend, I said, Mitch, this was your wife, your mother, or your daughter. Would you happen to do it? He said, absolutely not. I said, well, thank you for confirming what I've already gotten. So, like, all right, so I'm off all meds now. He said, well, I'm not comfortable with that. I said, I really appreciate that you don't want anything to happen to me. And um, they're not helping me, so let's just let it go. So I
Mhm.
stopped all drug therapy in 2007. And it's interesting because about a month before this happened, I was away up in the mountains on a women with some friends golfing. And one of my friends, who I had seen quite a while, we were sitting on the couch talking about women's sports and such. And she said to me, she said, you've got a really good spirit. There's somebody that I'd really like for you to talk to. And I was like, okay. So I got a number and I made a phone call. And I had no idea who this person was. Now, my background, of course, is in medicine. I thoroughly research everything. I didn't research this at all. I made the phone call, had my first phone conversation, still not knowing this woman was a spiritual healer.
Mm,
And I didn't know what that meant. I
mhm,
was like, hey, I'll try something. Um, so we had our first conversation and we're talking about what my connection is with God or whatever I called my source of being.
mm,
And I was like, yeah, I believe in God. And the reply to that was, you don't know God.
mm.
And at that moment, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. It's just like, who is this person? Now, I still don't know. Um, and I was just like, hmm, um, what's my reply going to be? And what I let it pass. I said, there's something there. I mean, it's like, I know God. Who are you to tell me I don't know God? And he's like, just put that aside. So I did. And at the end of the call, believe it or not, I made another appointment for another call. And glutton for punishment. Who knows? Um, and so the thing of it was, I get on the phone the next time, and I hadn't given the conversation thought consciously.
Mm,
Um, I get on the phone, and after saying the hello and the normal pleasantries, the next words out of my mouth, I wasn't expecting. They were, I'll give you, I don't know God.
mm,
And so then the reply was, what do you mean by that? It's like, I know God in my head. I don't know God in my heart.
mm,
And that was the beginning of the process that has gotten me so many benefits physically and spiritually um, that keep on happening. Um, and it was also the perfect timing because within a year, my life as I knew it was about to blow up.
mm,
Um, my marriage was to end. My I was to sell my practice, and I didn't know. I was 48 years old. I didn't know what I was going to do.
mm,
So I was thrown a lifeline, and it continues to support me to this day. It's I moved. Yeah, the other thing was I moved states from where I was living and all friends there to somewhere where I knew one person.
mm,
And it was a time for me to step back and really be able to be with myself instead of distracting myself and really being with my Lord, God, my source of being, whatever it is for you, something greater than ourselves. And to be in that place of, oh, there, there is so much pain that I have and so much distortion in my perception and my perspectives of how things really are, as opposed to how I've been holding them or seeing them. And what happens when we open our consciousness to being able to see things in a different way, where we no longer feel the need to judge, to hold things so tightly, like they're going to be taken from us. And I had, I needed to get, for me, this, my personal journey, I needed to be put in that place, so that I could come to leaning into the truth with a capital T, as
Mm,
opposed to my personal truth, or what somebody else was thought was best for me. Um,
mm,
it's been quite a journey, and I have taken many journeys to expand my consciousness, um, in seeing other modalities of healing and experiencing them for myself. And through all of those experiences, it just keeps open, the lens that I see the world through just keeps getting broader and broader and brighter and brighter.
mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, um, so to this day, my neurologist, I kept my neurologist, I kept coming back, to where I had lived every year, and he'd see me every year and he'd say, "You're getting better, and I don't know why." And I said, "Mitch, when you really want to have that conversation, um, I will be more than happy to share what that's all about." Because he wasn't ready to hear it.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of all of me, um, being trained in allopathic medicine and having experienced so many different healing modalities and different ways of feeling whole, and knowing that we're all whole and we are all healed in each moment, that we don't have to wait for something to happen. We just have to find peace within ourselves and continue to hold out the hope that there is more for us. And that being said, yeah, his eyes, if I were having that conversation, they'd start to close. So, um, and and I continue to get better. In fact, I just got back from physical therapy a couple of hours ago. And my physical therapist that I've been working with since 1999, who is a dear friend. And today he's like, "This is the most I have seen you walk from
Mm,
bef since you left back." I've been gone, I'd been gone 12 years, 13 years, and now I've been back another three, so 16 years ago. And he's like, so yeah, and yeah, this is after uh, and bumps and bruises happen, and it's all good, and just kind of keep rolling with it.
Oh my goodness. There's so much that I want to follow up on. So I'm going to start at the end and maybe go back, but I just have to start with the bumps and bruises, and and you just roll with it. Like you just seem to naturally have this sort of buoyancy around what is real difficulty. I mean, if I can say so. I mean, you obviously have physical challenges that are significant. I'm sure you have pain and a whole bunch of sensations that are not real fun in your body. Um, and yet you seem to be just,
Normal.
well, I wasn't going to say normal. I was going to say you seem full of light.
Yeah.
So, do you feel like that's just a gift that you've been given? Or
It is. It is.
is
You know, um, I well, I thank I thank God for this, and because it's only by the grace of God that this is happening. And I also thank my dad. My dad was um one of the guys, he told me a long time ago, he's like, these are the cards you dealt. You've got to play them. It's my father was in the Army Air Corps in World War II. He's of that generation.
Yeah.
And he and he had challenges through his life and his family, and he was always moving forward to to better himself and to be better and do better and do more. And he did it with pain and all of that. Um, yeah, I took that to heart. Yet once I learned to play Texas Hold'em, I learned that you could ask for new cards. Didn't mean it was going to make it any easier, yet it might be different.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is just part of my temperament. And I'm grateful for it because yeah, and I also very young chose for whatever reason that I had to do it myself. And I am working, well, I'm being with the possibility that I can unlearn that place and allow people in to help me more.
Mm, mm, mm. So, for those of us who have not been graced with that temperament, um, I am very cognizant of, I think that through my childhood experience, that I habituated a negative interpretation of, I'll just leave it at that. Negative interpretation became my habit.
Mhm.
And as I have aged, I started having some health challenges when I was still high school, actually, and high school and college age. Um, and over time, those challenges have actually, I mean, there's been some up and down. There have been times where I've been told I was on the way out, and then there's times where I feel like I'm sort of stable, and there's times where it feels like it's different from minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day. Um, and I have struggled with letting go of that pattern of negative interpretation and not bringing, in relation to all of my life, but also and especially in relation to my physical experience of struggles with my health. Um, so what would you say to someone like me not having the same temperament? Yeah,
Yeah, the only thing, and I tell my students this all the time, and it's very true for me on so many levels. Um, the words that we use make a difference
yeah.
because when we say we're going through something, um, for me, now I go to the place of science, to physics.
Hmm.
Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Now, if I'm going through something, there are walls. So if I'm pushing against something, it's pushing back against me, which then sets things up. So my offering is to change the languaging slightly. To instead of going through something, I'm going to go into something. Because when I go into something, it's not me against something else. Might be the pain in my body, um, might be my reaction to something. Well, if I can go into it and then I am part of a collaboration and
Hmm.
I'm collaborating with my Lord, with Allah, with God, however, whatever name you want to use. and it becomes a sacred dance,
Yeah.
and I'm not leading. So
Mm,
that helps me to move deeper in, and instead of that stopping place, which is a lot of times where the pain becomes intense. Now,
mm,
the other wonderful gift that I have received from the spiritual path that I'm on is the divine names. So,
mm.
my favorite, when I can remember to recite it,
Yeah.
um, I'll be having a bad night and I'll be tossing and turning and finally, about 4 in the morning, all of a sudden it's like, oh, the quality salam, the peace.
Oh, interesting.
And when I start reciting it,
Mm,
within the next few hours,
yeah.
everything settles.
Mm, mm,
And salam is beautiful quality. It means peace, and it also is protection.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
So that then then I'm kind of feeling supported where I was doing it by myself.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I experience, I think in our culture, men are are taught that it's not cool to be vulnerable.
Oh, yep. I'm with you there. I was taught that too for me, so I understand that piece.
And and some of my symptoms, I have a variety of symptoms and I don't want to go into all of them, but some of the effect is, sometimes I feel very weak and very shaky, and I literally am shaky, you know, and sometimes I don't have control of my body because I will have spasms or I'll have cramps that I'm, like I may be trying to brush my teeth, but I don't necessarily have control whether my hand is going to work in that moment of
Mhm.
me trying to brush my teeth. Or, when I get tired, I have problems with falling. So these are situations where I can feel really vulnerable, and it's very challenging to like be present with the vulnerability because it's such an uncomfortable feeling, um, to be present with that, um, whatever symptomology is going on and the emotional response of feeling vulnerable in addition to feeling, the physical experience. Um, so I think the divine name Ya Salam with the peace and the protection, that sounds quite beautiful. Would you be willing to just lead us in a few recitations of Ya Salam?
Oh, sure. I'd be more than happy to. Ya Allah, Ya Salam. 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 Ya Salam. Ya Salam. Ya Salam. Ya Salam.
Thank you.
Alhamdulillah.
So I want to go back to something that you said earlier, in your first experience of having this phone call with the person who identified themselves as a spiritual healer, and you saying, "Yeah, I can give you that statement that I don't know God," and your recognition of the difference between knowing God in your head and knowing God in your heart. Um, is there What was your starting point in terms of spiritual practice that helped you make that transition from knowing God in your head to knowing God in your heart?
Was being introduced into our guide's C.D. Al-Jamal's book,
Mm,
Music of the Soul,
mm,
and hearing, because the spiritual healer was reading to me
mm,
parts of it. And when I heard them, all I felt was love.
yeah.
And we're all trained to use our minds, yet we have forgotten that there is a wisdom, a divinely inspired wisdom that has been feeding us from before we can remember.
Yeah.
And just our mind has taken over and is damping down the wisdom that comes in through our heart. And the path that I travel is because the mind's a beautiful gift. There's nothing wrong with the mind. It's
Mm,
been there to save us and to help us.
yeah.
And it's allowing all of the parts that kind of skewed the picture that we were talking about before,
Mm,
um, to come to alignment with what the heart is bringing in. It's not forgetting either part. It's
mm,
allowing them to combine
mm,
into that place of unity for the knowing that we all have intuitive knowing. We all have um, insights
mm,
and trusting from the one that we've forgotten to the one that um, has been ruling the roost the entire time.
mm. Thank you. Couple more follow-up questions. Um, the comment that you just shared, as well as what you referenced earlier, is part of this journey of traveling from the personal truth, which often includes some misconceptions.
Limiting beliefs. I mean, we carry so many limiting beliefs.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah, yeah. So what is it really that you found most helpful in letting go of the limiting beliefs and stepping into truth with a capital T?
It's my Sufi practices. It is um, there's a practice called um, tauba,
Mm,
and tauba, yes, it's about forgiveness. Yet, for me, okay, from a physiological point, the
mhm,
heart is tethered only in one place,
mm,
so it can turn.
mm,
And actually, after my divorce, my heart turned physically.
wow.
Um, I had had EKGs my entire life, perfectly normal. Went to the doctor's office and I could read EKGs. went to the doctors. She's like, with my patients, I want to get a baseline for everybody. And I've been seeing her for a while. And so they put the leads on. And it's like, yeah, we've got a problem here. This is not a normal EKG. And they're freaking out. It's like, well, you've had a midline mid-septal heart attack. I said, I haven't had a heart attack. So then I went through all the tests, went to the cardiologist, did the
Yeah.
echocardiogram. They're like, nope, you haven't had it. Your heart's turned. My heart turned away from the pain.
Yeah.
So when they put the leads on your chest, it's if your heart's set up the normal way, yeah, you have a normal EKG. If it's turned a little bit, it's not going to be normal EKG. So I just wanted to give you baseline there.
Yeah.
So, um, because our heart does can turn, and on the Sufi path, the mystical path of Sufism, I it's allowing our heart to turn back towards
Mm,
our source of being, towards Allah, towards God.
mm,
Um, and we're forgiven, and it's finding forgiveness in ourselves, um, because we're terrible at judging ourselves. We have we no, actually we do it a really good job, and we judge harshly.
yes,
Um, most of us.
indeed.
And it's returning those things that we can't carry
Yeah.
that helps us to unpack all of this, all of
Hmm.
these places. And through my somatic experiencing training, and Peter Levine's based training on a biological animal model, we as humans carry all of our traumas, whatever level, in our nervous system. So everything gets clogged up and we have no room to heal.
Mm,
So it's allowing place is allowing the return of the things that we can't carry and that we never were meant to carry, honestly,
mhm,
to back to our source of being, to allow the discharge so that the space can be created so that we can be illuminated beings, which we truly are,
mhm.
if
So
that makes
I'm sorry.
if that makes sense.
Well, I know that tauba is the Arabic word for return. And I know that the means that in our way, in the Sufi tradition that we do tauba is we say Astaghfirullah al-Azim, which is the Arabic, which is a phrase saying, basically Allah asking for forgiveness, please forgive us, and help us to return. Um, and I'm wondering if you could speak a little bit more to this connection between somatic experiencing and tauba. Is there a way that you in particular bring those two together?
They work really well together. Yet for the somatic experiencing, um, the tauba is the return. The
Hmm.
somatic experiencing is how we experience what we are asking to be returned. And many times we don't even know what we're asking to be returned. And God has forgiven us long before we even know to ask for forgiveness. Um, the somatic experiencing piece for me
Yeah.
is the piece of we need to be seen.
Hmm.
We need to see ourselves. And that's part of the thing that many of us don't do well.
Right.
we need to be witnessed, and we need to witness ourselves. Um, and then and finding compassion within ourselves,
Yeah.
because that's usually, for me, that's been the place that is, many of my students, I tell them, get a post-it note, put it on your mirror, and there are going to be three things I'm going to tell you to write on it. And because many of us don't really look at ourselves, and when I sprained my ankle a couple of weeks ago, um, I I did it. I was alone, and then I couldn't get up.
Mm,
Um, and then I had to reach out to others, and that was all fine. And I'm open to that, because yeah, when I'm vertically challenged, it's not pretty. And it's like, not that I won't eventually, I can eventually do it. It's just like there's no need for the struggle. I've given up. Well,
yeah.
have I given up on the struggle? Mm, um, kind of, sort of. It's much to a much lesser degree, because I'm going to do it myself, and it's just like, yeah, no. Um, so the three things that I have them right. Let me see if I can remember. I am loved. I love. And then the last one is I am the love, because it's recognizing the divine spark, those divine qualities within ourselves, and being able to witness them, that for me has helped me move from the place of holding all of this stuff inside and
Yeah.
finding the space. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like um Rumi's poem, um, that one of the lines, the last line is, the wound is where the light enters.
Mm,
It's allowing ourselves to witness that place within ourselves,
yeah.
and allow the light to gently come in and start to touch those wounds and start to heal them. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. So I am loved. I love. I am the love.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love this reframing of somatic experiencing because I haven't had a lot of great experience with somatic experiencing. Um, many times when I've worked with somatic experienced practitioners, I just find it super activating. Um, and I've not found it healing despite their level of expertise and their level of experience and so on and so forth. Um, so I love this idea of bringing together somatic experiencing and tauba and the returning, um, with somatic experiencing as being a window to compassionate self-witnessing, and taking that, so that's part of the return, is this compassionate witnessing of the experience that we have in the body, and asking for the return, asking to return to truth with a capital T,
Mhm.
because often we interpret what we experience in our bodies through the lens of through the lens of falsehood, through the lens of illusion, not through the lens of truth. So I really appreciate this reframing that you're offering.
Oh, alhamdulillah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's much more titrated for me. And that's probably my love of chemistry. Um, because it's a titrated process. And yeah, the somatic experiencing can be re-traumatizing. And that being said, I've always held it from a place that you go to a scary movie, and sometimes, yeah, you might want, I mean, or a horror movie, you might want to, it gets really gross and you just want to turn away or close your eyes. And
Yeah.
that's the way I try to do everything in the Sufi healings in somatic experience from the place where we're watching the movie and we can step back, we can close our eyes
Yeah.
until we're ready to step back in and not force it. Because re-traumatizing ourselves is never a good plan.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, looking at the experience of my self with a little s, a lowercase s, um, is often just plain old not helpful.
Hmm.
Um, if I can be with Allah, if I can be with the divine, then the experience of healing and the experience of transformation comes through the being with Allah, not through the looking at my individual experience. Um, so,
That's well put. Yes.
and I think,
That's yeah.
and I think often with this, I think we kind of, I'm not saying it's not helpful to be aware of trauma, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't have compassionate self-witnessing. We absolutely should. And I'm saying that for me individually, I have to be careful and cognizant of what am I witnessing and how much energy and attention am I giving to A versus B, to self, lowercase elf, excuse me, lowercase s versus the divine. You know. And okay, couple more things that I gotta follow up on from your sharing of your spiritual story. Um, you've mentioned that in your journey that you are, as time goes on, increasingly being able to look at the world through the lens of increased broadening and brightening. You use the word broader and brighter. And I mean, just saying those words, like in and of itself, like it brings a certain level of lightness, right? Just to think about, oh, I'm seeing the world through more with more broadness and more brightness. So I would just love to hear you say more about, I don't know, how you got there, how you stay there, how anything that you have to share on that point.
It's yeah, I've always been in awe
Mm,
of the world. Um, there is so much beauty. And all right, so I'm gonna take a sidestep first. Now, one of the my name Latifah was given to me by my guide. And Latifah's meaning is the subtle. Yet another piece of meaning is being able to see the beauty in everything.
mm,
And I've always had, there's part of me that in my other self wasn't always necessarily subtle. Yet, and yet I always did see beauty. Now, the piece for me is not stopping at the outer picture. Yes, I could see all these amazing things. I could see amazing piece of art. And it's for when I'm working with, well, no, when I'm being, it's not working. It's being with myself. It's
yeah,
truly being with myself and all of its parts. Because those parts, when we start to see them as parts, kind of takes us down a path that isn't bringing us towards the whole. And where do we want to be? We want to be towards the whole. So they're all interconnected. They all work together. And when I see all of this beauty that I see, it's not stopping just there. It's being able to say, okay, that's creation. Creation is awesome. Where is the creator in it?
Mm. Yeah.
And when I see that and potentially the meanings, there's so much more richness in it for me.
Yeah. Beautiful. Mm. Not stopping with the outer, opening to setting the intention to see the inner, to be moved toward the whole, and to ask, where is the creator in this? Yeah, it's beautiful. So before we close, if I just invite you, I had wanted to just give you an opportunity to share something from the alchemy of awakening. Um, would you would you like to share
I would. I'm going to ask. I'm going to give you a couple of titles. I know where I went. One is Longing for Lost. The other one is A Sea of Mercy. And do I have the other one? Oh, Vulnerability is one. Habib.
no?
And here's a gift. Oh, I don't, oh, and the other one's a gift. Yeah,
Hmm.
have any inkling?
Well, I feel like you can never have too much mercy. So, so, so I think I'm going to put mercy at the.
Yep, Sea of Mercy. A violent storm boils around me. I am adrift in the sea with no vessel or safety in sight. I'm tossed in the darkness, struggling to stay afloat. Terror sets in, and my struggling intensifies. My will is broken. Finally, I can fight no more. I must accept what is. A peace washes over me. I feel as if someone or something is watching me, smiling. I relax into the movement of the waves. I stop pushing you away. My perceptions shift. My awareness heightens, and fear recedes. I submerge completely. I am held here, totally encapsulated. Instead of being my adversary, I feel your support. You buoy me up, and I break the surface, gasping for air. The scene has changed now. The seas are calming, the darkness lifting, and sun streams through broken clouds. I no longer feel the foreboding of impending doom. I rest now. There is no struggle here. I gently float on the calm sea, feeling your support, protection, and love. And in the distance, a ship appears on the horizon.
Hmm. Well, thank you, Latifah, for this conversation, for sharing your experience and your wisdom.
It's my honor and my pleasure.
And thank you to all listeners for joining us on Beyond Names. Before we go briefly, if you would pause, just take one breath and reflect for a moment on what stays with you from this conversation with Latifah. May something you heard today help you reconnect with the light in your own heart. May you grow in compassion, clarity, and courage. May you find your way again and again back home to the divine, back home to yourself. If today's conversation spoke to you, please like, share, and comment on this episode. Please follow and subscribe to Beyond Names. To make an appointment with me, please visit habibburger.com. Until next time, may you be light. May you consciously participate in growing your light, and may you share your light. Peace be with you.